Hello, everyone. James Williams, Director of Programs with MEF. Ian, thank you very much for the transition. So we've heard a lot about RCS today, and indeed throughout the event, thinking back to day one, we talked a lot about SMS, but rich business messaging has far more to do than just RCS. There are chat apps. There are many chat apps around the world, and billions of us use apps. Now, if you think of all of us with a smartphone, how many apps we have on the smartphone? Probably several dozen, but how many do we actually use every day regularly? Probably between 3 and 5, and the majority of those are chat apps. Now, today, this session will be looking at how enterprises arm themselves to succeed with rich business messaging in 2021. And joining me will be Cristina Constandache, who is the Chief Revenue Officer of Viber. And a little later in the show, Artem Podstreshny, who is the CEO of Messaggio. Artem is over in Malta. Now, Viber itself, Viber Media, was actually founded back in 2010 by 2 alumni from the Israeli Defense Forces, Igor Magazinik and Talmon Marco. In February 2014, for the princely sum of $900 million, Rakuten picked up Viber, hence today, Rakuten Viber. So I'd like to introduce to you all Cristina Constandache, the Chief Revenue Officer of Viber. Hey, Cristina. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi, James.
Hey, great that you could join me. So just to give a quick background about Cristina, Cristina has a BA in Humanistics from the University of Bucharest, has spent many a year in the world of advertising, and it's safe to say knows the world of business messaging very well indeed. So the format of this session is very simple. Cristina will be delivering a presentation for around 8 to 10 minutes, at which point I'll be bringing in Artem Podstreshny, partner Viber, and I'll be asking Cristina and Artem some questions, some great experience to draw from there. And then to close and wrap up the session, we'll be taking questions from the audience. So without further ado, let me share my file. 1 second. Share my screen. Oh, we have the presentation up. Thank you.
Excellent.
Sam, thank you very much indeed. So what I'll do now, Cristina, I will disappear from here and I will leave you to it. So Sam is in control from the production team. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, James. Thank you, Sam. It's a great question. How do enterprises use business messaging in the most effective way? At Viber, we've been doing we've been offering rather business messaging as a service to enterprises from around 2015. So way ahead of some other players in the game. So needless to say, we have learned quite a lot along the way. We've learned from our mistakes, we've learned from their mistakes, and hopefully we will continue to learn from mistakes in order to make the product better and better and offer the best service to not only our customers, but also our partners, the businesses that we're working with. So let's go to the next slide, which will show you myself, but you already know about me, so we can go to the next slide and look quickly at the agenda. I'm not going to turn this into a sales pitch, there's no point, but I would like to share, based on our experience, some of the not only consumer communication trends, which I bet most of you know, but when it comes specifically to messaging, it's interesting to see what we're seeing inside the app. And after that, we'll go through tips for marketing through messaging apps, because this remains today one of the hottest topics on the market. How do you put together a marketing goal with, let's say, utility or transactional goal in order to keep everyone happy? And after that, we'll invite our dear partner Artem to the presentation to share some of the trends that they are seeing on their side, and hopefully we will be able to answer most of your questions at the end. So if we are to go to the next slide, it's safe to say that when you're a messaging app, you actually do have to deal head-on with what the users are talking about, or rather what the users are complaining about when it comes to getting in touch with the business. So what we're seeing on our platform is that the majority of the users, over 50% of the users, actually over 70% of the users, engage with messages only when they offer a customized and personalized experience, and that they are very quick to dismiss messages that just come out of the blue, that have not been requested, that they haven't opted in, and that ultimately are just generic communication that they could be getting out there from any other channel. So they don't like that. They want to make sure that if somebody is going to be messaging them in what is still perceived as their personal messaging space, this is going to be highly relevant to them. At the same time, overall in the messaging world, when you're looking at what the consumers are complaining about, over 81% are saying that it's super difficult to engage with a business. This is something that I bet most of you have felt. I know that I have when I'm trying to talk to a business, and it's an endless nightmare because let's face it, very few businesses do get it right when it comes to omni-channel or rather multi-channel, because we're not there yet. You need to restart your conversation several times, different agents, no history, going back and forth. So, long story short, not the best experience for the users. I do prefer to text the business if that's an option, rather than call them. Mainly because I don't like call centers, and I don't like listening to music, and I don't like speaking to a robot, and I don't like choosing option 1 and option 2 and option 1AB and option AD and so on and so forth. And I will, and I'm not the only one, tend to choose businesses where I've already had a good customer experience. And I know for a fact that if I have an issue, somebody will be able to answer me. We were talking on Monday about business messaging going into the social space. I firmly believe that if the business messaging has gone into the social space, is because somebody has been complaining about bad customer experience. So it's better to keep the business messaging in the channel that it's intended to be. And ultimately, users, and quite a hefty portion of them, 30% of them, will walk away after only one single bad experience with your brand. So it's extremely important to understand the user's expectation and to get it right. Let's go to the next slide. And for that, we have a couple of tips. They're all very common sense. And like most common sense tips, they are not necessarily followed by everyone. First and foremost, as a brand, as a business, you need to define your own objectives. You need to know what you're looking for. You need to know what type of messaging you're looking to send. Is it promotional messages only? Is it a transactional message? Are you looking to attract new users? Are you looking to interact with existing customers? Are you looking to push both categories to transact? Are you looking to stay in touch? Ultimately, what do you want to do? Define the goals that you want to achieve. Main objectives on launching a messaging channel are going to be marketing. But marketing, depending on who you're targeting, refer back to the previous point of whether it's a new user, a new customer, or an existing customer, should be kept in mind with a fine balance between, am I going to bury this user in a ton of marketing messages, or I'm going to try to find the right balance between transactional messages where I actually add value to their user experience and put the marketing on top as a extra bonus, extra plus for them. The same goes for obviously customer care versus sales channel. Am I going to use messaging as a customer care channel from where I want to encourage new sales, or am I going to use it only to tackle user inquiries? So it's very important that before you start, you have at least an idea of what you're looking to achieve. Can we go to the next slide? Speak your customers your customers' language. This doesn't only cover the actual language. So if you have customers in several markets, it goes without saying that you should obviously be able to offer client service in the local language. But it goes beyond this. So messaging, if you're going to go down the messaging route, allows you to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more informal, a little bit more personal than email or than even a conversation on your own website. So you need to adapt the tone and the words and the nature of a message to who you're talking to. So the tone of voice should reflect the user situation. Ideally, they should reflect their mood. Very, very important. If somebody is angry when he's speaking to an agent, you don't want to give them standard answers that are going to make them even angrier or even more unhappy. You should take into account the age as well, the interest, and ultimately, you can, for example, adapt the reply format to shorter sentences, to answers that are more to the point, rather than long emails or long explanations. So it gives you a lot of flexibility that you are an FMCG brand, that you are banking or more traditional industry, to really engage with a customer rather than just offer a blanket type of approach and just very generic answers. Can we go to the next slide? Integrate with your CRM. Again, it goes without saying that you should be able to at least follow up, if not know in advance, the customer history. There is nothing more annoying from a customer's perspective than contacting you over and over again and having to state the issues over and over again and having to go through security over and over again, bearing in mind that, of course, the security when you're looking to return a product is very different from the security for a banking service. So we are looking at differences here. But either way, you should always be able to track the steps the customers took to get to you and be able to follow up on the conversation and be able to see the interest they have shown in different parts of your business, depending on the type of service that you are providing. And again, going back to the goal that you are looking to achieve. And ultimately, create a more fluid end-to-end experience. I mean, at the end of the day, the more you know about your customers, the better you're able to serve them. But it doesn't mean that you need to know private information. It just means that you need to know where they're coming from, what they're interested in, what their issues are, what products they're looking at, and integrate all this into your CRM tools, keeping them up to date in order to offer what is ultimately a personalized experience in a personal app. Let's go to the next slide. Automate your user flow. Of course, it goes hand in hand with integrating with your CRM. There are different types of integrations out there. Chatbots, of course, are the holy grail of automation. But unfortunately, it's not only a matter of not having the right resources in order to integrate one. It's also a matter of not really understanding how to use a chatbot to the best of its capabilities. So a fully fledged chatbot should connect to your CRM tools and monitor the user journey and keep track of their history. Then you have notifications or messages that can remind customers to book a dentist appointment, for example, service for their car, to buy a gift for a special occasion, anniversaries, etc., etc. Communications like these are delivered by a messaging app are far more likely to be seen by customers because in a messaging app, unlike SMS, you have not only more characters, so you go up to 1,000 characters, you also have rich media, you can add videos, you can add stickers, you can add content that is a lot more engaging than the 160 characters of an SMS, of a text. And of course, once it's automated, you know that it's taken care of, so you can focus more on the customer and how to improve their experience rather than the tools that you need to use and the processes that you need to put in place. And you can use this for digital coupons, you can use this to manage shop cart abandonment, you can use this to virtually touch the user at every step of the customer journey. And the last one, can we go to the next slide? Choose a messaging app that serves your needs. Again, there are lots of messaging apps out there. Some of them offer some of the features, some of them offer other features. Do your homework. Like for any marketing channel that you are looking to start working with, you need to understand their capabilities. You need to understand what they cover, what they offer, and you need to be able to adapt the technology and the experience that you're using, that you're offering to your customers, so that it matches the channel or the messaging app that you're looking to choose. James was saying in the beginning that, okay, we have hundreds of apps on our phones, but on average we use between 3 and 5. That is true. Messaging apps are the only ones where today users spend more time than on social media apps, but more importantly, it is a very personal space. So you have the best chances of engaging with them when they are in a messaging app, but you need to do it right. And for that, we think that the 5 tips that we have selected for you will ensure a great start to your messaging journey and a great usage of business messaging in a messaging app. And now we should call to the stage Artem. Hi, Artem. Nice to see you.
Hi, Cristina. Nice to see you as well.
For those of you who don't know Artem and Messaggio, so they've been one of our key partners since 2015. So they are actually one of the first ones to have started using business messages with us. They are covering a range of markets. So they were started with Russia, then they expanded to CE. Now they are expanding to Asia as well as the last couple of years. They cover several markets in CIS as well. So it gives me great pleasure to have Artem with us today, because whenever I need valuable feedback, he is actually one of the key people that I turn to, and I know that I can always trust his opinion.
Cristina, you've done my job for me. You're making me redundant.
Always. No. Let's not go there yet.
Artem, a real pleasure. So you have a super long history, I know, with your previous business in SMS, but you have seen the light, sir, and you've changed the business name, obviously, to Messaggio, which is nice and generic. It encompasses multiple channels because there is more to life than SMS. There is more to life than RCS. There's a whole brave new world of chat apps out there. So let's get straight into it. Now, I had the pleasure of having your colleague, Cristina, Etienne, on my session earlier in the week, on Monday, in fact, talking about small and medium-sized enterprises. I found that business messaging is great for them, and of course, chat apps and your solution as well. Now, brands, we know, are making mistakes. Clearly, from the experiences Cristina was talking about, we all know, I know myself as well, particularly in a customer services scenario, that some of the difficulties we have actually connecting and getting our message across to companies can be very difficult. So, Artem, I'll start with yourself. What mistakes are brands making when they actually launch their messaging channel?
Yeah, as we are on the front line of the enterprises, and we quite familiar with all these mistakes. And Cristina made a great presentation, in fact, because she mentioned most of these mistakes that brands do. And first of all, the brands do not pay attention that they have least options to make mistakes or make errors in some kind of conversations with users, and comparatively to emails or what channels they used to have. So they cannot just make a kind of test bulk messaging to Viber and check the response, because each messaging causes user disturbance. Yeah, it's a private space, as you know, and these are not the same as it used to be. So the great thing is their user-based segmentation, which describes as you need to make a personal approach, yeah, like language, like tone, like ages, and so on. And in fact, not so many brands do this. So they prefer to make a kind of unified message, unified templates, and so on, and send these to as many users as possible to reduce their workload on the back office and so on. One more thing is not to be completely synchronized between messaging and marketing parts here of business, a kind of marketing department and back office. For example, we saw cases when, for example, back office or call center of the brand wasn't ready to high level of calls due to marketing campaign. So marketing campaign, especially in Viber, they're great. They have great response rates. But then our brand, if, for example, call center might work from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. Yeah. And you start a huge campaign. You do not coach all these feedbacks, all the calls. One more thing for for mistakes, yeah, that, okay, you send message to a rich business messaging channel, and you have a kind of action button that leads the user to your landing page. So till that point, everything works great. And then you have plenty of options of different web browsers or mobile devices, tablets, and so on. And landing page of the brand where it sells its services. Yeah, it should be completely tested. I mean, no. It's not the same as user just surfs website from the Google, because most brands, they do not distinguish between user that came from the marketing campaign in Viber, for example, and the user that reached the website via Google, but they're different. So yeah. You have a direct approach from the user, and user expects that you already know him. So at least you know his phone number, at least you know some data from CRM. You don't need to ask him to register. You don't need to make some pop-ups to sign to your email base, or to upsell something extra. So you don't need all these banners and so on.
We have, our time is running away. We could talk about this for such a long time. Cristina, to close up this session, really, let's get to the number of this issue. There's so many channels out there. As a brand, if I'm a brand, how do I position my messaging channel as part of my overall communication strategy? Because there's so many channels out there. What do I do?
You take a look at what you're using today in order to engage with your customers. And from there, you can actually, if you have a preferred channel that you want to use and you want to go into messaging, you can actually, on the one hand, in the case of Viber, for example, find out which users already in your database are using Viber and contact them directly from Viber, and you let them know in advance why you are contacting them through Viber. And additionally, for those that are not, you can actually position your new messaging channel as the preferred contact center, for example, for your business. So it's very easy. You do it in your on your website, you do it in your app, you do it in your emails, you do it in your in a marketing campaign, and ultimately you can actually do it through a messaging app specifically. In this case, I'm again referring to Viber because some of our competitors do not offer the same options, where you promote your business inside Viber and you actually acquire new users in addition to the existing users that you already have.
That's really.
But it goes both ways, so it's a matter of education, and it goes. It's the same as for any other marketing channel. Whether you're introducing a new marketing channel or you're introducing a new customer care channel, you have to let the users know. In our case, it's a bit easier because you know already who's on it, but ultimately you do need to educate the users and tell them from now on, you can contact me, you can find me here, I reply to you 24 hours, I'm open for business, come and talk to me.
Fantastic. Cristina, thank you very much. Artem, sorry we didn't get to spend a huge amount of time with you. This session has run away in terms of time, but thank you both very much. Cristina Constandache, Chief Revenue Officer of Rakuten Viber, and Artem Podstreshny, the CEO of Messaggio, based in Malta. Thank you both very much. It's been a fantastic journey with you, looking at your business messages solution, and I look forward to all the upcoming sessions the rest of the day. Thank you all and enjoy your viewing. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.